Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to start the reading vlog for May, and I'm very excited. I think May will be kind of a nice month. It's usually the time when I start enjoying the weather, so I really like all the months from May to December, but then January to April, I'm usually suffering a little bit, so I'm very excited that we're now going into May. In April, we have the magical readathon, so I have a blank slate right now. I can start new books because I had to scramble a bit, not gonna lie, to finish all the 8 books I needed for magical readathon. So today we are starting fresh, and I want to let you know what the first books will be that I will be reading. Now, I did upload my May TBR, so you can go and check out my reading plans if you want to, but this is where we will start. And the first book I have started now is my audiobook, Dragon Haven. This is the second book in the Rainwild Chronicles by Robin Hobb. Now, I'm planning to read the whole quartet this year, and we are moving along to the second book now. The first book was quite a bit of setup, so I am quite intrigued to now go into the second book and actually see stuff happen. So in this one, I can't really tell you what we're doing in detail because this is the 4th series in the Realm of the Elderlings, so a lot has come before, and I don't want to spoil you for that. But basically, we're looking at a part of the world called the Rainwild, where people live that have been marked. I can't really explain to you what that is, but they are a little bit different, and in their society, the more marked they are, the more disadvantaged they are. They're discriminated against and stuff like that. And so in the Rainwilds, they have the problem that they have some dragons and they need to move them. So they needed dragon keepers, and we have a bunch of teenagers that are quite heavily marked that have taken on the job to be dragon keepers. Now, our main character in this one is Thymera, and she is one of those teenagers taking care of the dragons right now, and they're traveling through the jungle to get to a forgotten city. And then we also have Alice. Alice is a character who's not from the Rainwilds. She's from Bingtown. However, she is in a very unhappy marriage, and she's also obsessed with dragons and elderlings. So she's going on this expedition as well, kind of as an expert, and trying to live some freedom as a woman when that is not usually how life goes in this area. So I am, as I said, quite intrigued to see that there will actually be some plot now. Robin Hobb is a master of writing characters, but at some point you want stuff to happen as well. And I feel like in the first book we literally only got the setup of the characters to learn a little bit more about the dragons and the people taking care of them, but now we need some action, please. And then the first book I think I want to read this month is a Korean healing fiction. This was a gift I got from my best friend last year. Still, I cannot pronounce the English title of this book. The German title is Kleine Wunder in der Mitternachtskonditorei by Onhwa. I will write the English title in the description of the video, so you can go look it up if you're interested. I absolutely love this cover. It's so beautiful. I would love to just transport right into this scenery. I hope this book will be full of treats and maybe cats. We'll see about that. We do have a little guy there. So yeah, I'm intrigued to read this one. I am not particularly interested in healing fiction, but I haven't tried Korean healing fiction yet. So I hope that this one will be a winner. And after reading quite some harrowing books at the end of the month, last month, I think I want to start with something cozy and gentle. So let's see how that will go, and I'll update you when I have done some reading. So today is the 2nd of May, and I'm here with an update. You can tell I'm reading a short book because I'm now halfway through this Korean healing fiction. Now, this book is kind of what I expected, but also maybe a tiny bit better than what I expected. I'm not quite sure yet. So I have mentioned every time that I've talked about this book that I don't really vibe with healing fiction, like the Japanese healing fiction. This one is Korean, so I thought I'd give it a try because I got it as a gift, and still, most amazing cover, not gonna lie. So yesterday I started reading this and I made it to the halfway point. I have finished the first two customers. So as a backstory, we have our main character who has been raised by her grandma. Her parents passed away very tragically when she was young, and now the grandma has passed away as well, and she has inherited this midnight bakery, basically. And our main character doesn't want anything to do with it. She is convinced that it is not, economically valuable. So she wants to get rid of the bakery and just go work somewhere and do the like traditional expected Korean like corporate life. So when she learns that she can't really do that, that probably no one is going to buy the bakery off of her because it is in a cursed location, and then also that there is a debt and that she would have to pay that off, she decides to do as she's told by her grandmother through her will, and she is running this bakery for a month. And then we basically go through the customers that she meets. So the first customer is a woman, and the theme of that is basically that she is a mother, but she was a single mom and she didn't really have the opportunities to really give her daughter the life that she wanted to give her. And it's about, how well we know our children, especially in this single mom situation where you have to work so much to afford a minimum of life basically for your child. And the daughter now is an adult and she's about to get married, and we learn a little bit about that struggle basically and how they never really got to express their love to each other. The second story then is about a young man who was a basketball player. However, he is described as very shy. Like, you could almost read him a little bit like neurodivergent, I would say, because he really, really loves basketball, but he just can't play it when other people are watching, basically. And so at some point he has to give up his dream, basically, and he gets very, very depressed. And then he meets a woman. And it's a little bit about that. Now, I must confess, the basketball story was a little bit dragged out and boring for me, but it's okay. Like, I knew that this would have those vignettes of like people's lives. Personally, I'm way more interested in the bakery. There is this little black cat that seems to be connected to the spirit world that I would love to know more about. Will we learn more about it? Probably not. We also have this mysterious guy who shows up and he says he's a shaman, and he basically helps our main character run the bakery. And I think there will be like 3 more customers for the second half of the book. So yeah, is this life-changing for me? No. Like, I feel like I have just an issue with this overall premise of like people being dead and then they realize they have to fix something. Like, better fix your stuff while you're still alive, and the other person can actually profit off of that as well. Like, if you want to tell someone you love them, you better do it right now. Like, don't wait until someone ran you over. But yeah, that's just my like overall issue I have with this kind of book. Then I also finished watching the One Piece live action season 2 on Netflix last night, and it was so good. I had so much fun with season 2. I think I still prefer season 1 a little bit, but yeah, it was really fun. I'm so glad they're doing the live action because I would not be able to force myself through, all of the anime or all of the manga. It's just way, way, way too much. But I think the way that the live action is boiling everything down makes it more manageable for me to like keep up my excitement. And I think the characters are done so well. It still has that whimsy and the magic of it all without it getting too cheesy. I think they are doing the balance so well. So obsessed, and I really hope they keep this show running as long as possible because it is such a light in my day. I'm enjoying it so much. So yeah, we'll have to figure out what to watch next, to be honest. I am really glad that this year I got back into watching some TV shows. I usually don't do that, and you probably have that issue as well with like juggling all of your hobbies. Like, I feel like I would like to play The Sims more. I would like to bake more. I would like to travel more. I would like to read more books. I would like to watch more TV shows and movies. And it's like the day only has so many hours, unfortunately. So, yeah. And obviously, YouTube is like taking up so much of my time. Like, I'm currently almost a week behind on my YouTube videos, like that I'm watching, like all the channels that I enjoy. So, yeah, there's always something that has to give, basically. But I'm still enjoying like being back into TV shows and movies a little bit. It's bringing me a lot of comfort. And so, yeah, I will have to make up my mind what to watch next. So for now, it is Saturday. I will do all of my like weekly cleaning in a second. I have this urge to go into town today, which is very dangerous because we have amazing weather and it's a long weekend because yesterday was a holiday in Germany. And so where I live, it's like very, very touristy. I know if I go into town, there will be tons and tons of people and I will probably get annoyed. So it's not a good idea. But I want to. Like, I have been watching these shorts. I will link the channel down below. It's basically a woman in the UK who is making content about living alone and yeah, just like the joys and kind of like the romanticizing a little bit, So that has like really inspired me to like romanticize a little bit more and just to enjoy what I have because I'm so privileged to live this kind of life. But on the other hand, I feel like I will immediately regret it when I go into town. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. But yeah, I'll figure that out. First, I'll have to do the cleaning anyway. And maybe then I'm so exhausted I don't want to do it anymore. We'll see. So today is the 4th of May and I do have some more reading updates. I literally had the best long weekend. We had a holiday on Friday and so then I had Saturday and Sunday off and it was just glorious. I went into town, I got some gifts for my grandma. I settled in a little cafe that luckily mostly the tourists don't find. So I even got a table there and it was like really, really chill. And then I spent a ton of enough time also on the balcony with the cat. It was very, very lovely. So I finished reading the Korean healing fiction by Onhwa, and this one I gave 3.5 stars. Now, as I had mentioned in my previous update, I'm not like the biggest fan of this genre. However, I did find that the ending of this book was quite cute, and there wasn't really a story that really annoyed me. It's just like the overall idea that annoys me a little bit. So after the basketball story, we have the story of two best friends who have both studied art and trying to make their way in the art world and basically giving up all of their lives for the chance of success. And then we have the story of a small boy who has a stepsister, and they're trying to become friends, but they're both a little bit unsure how to go about it. And last but not least, we learn the backstory of one of the characters as well as the grandma's backstory, and then the book ends. And as I said, I think it was quite cute. I did like the conclusion at the end. The main character of this book was a little bit annoying to me. She starts out so meek in a way and like letting other people walk all over her, and then in the middle of the book she decides that now she's going to be the complete opposite and just walk all over other people. It's just it felt very weird. I did not like the main character, unfortunately, but you know, it was a vibe, it was cute. If you are really into the healing fiction, then I don't think you can really go wrong with this one. The descriptions of the treats in this were exceptional, and I would love to try every single one of them. There was even a little recipe that came with the book. However, I don't have the things to actually make this. Not like the ingredients, I think you can get those at an Asian market, but like the tools you need to make it. But I will give this back to the friend who gifted this to me, because she had started reading it, but she hasn't finished. So now she can read it too, and maybe her mom will find a way to make that treat that the recipe is for. I still think that the cover and the book overall is really, really cute, and yeah, just beautifully designed. I do like it when they put the actual cover on the hardback and not like a dust jacket. So after I finished that, I wasn't really in the mood to pick up anything sad or dark. So I decided to stick to my lighter fun reads, and I did my reread of Cheese Sweet Home Volume 4. That was the perfect vibe for the balcony yesterday. Now in this one, I think like 3 and 4 might be my favorite volumes, because this series is about this small cat called Chi who gets lost and then adopted by a Japanese family. However, they do live in an apartment where pets are not allowed, and now in Volume 4 they finally move to a place where they can legally have a cat. And so it's about the moving process and how stressful that is for a pet, how Chi doesn't really understand what's going on, and then slowly is starting to settle into the place. And I think this is really great, especially if you read this with children, to really show them how pets perceive the world and why things that maybe for us seem very simple are hard to understand for a pet. So I gave this volume 4 stars on reread again. I think it's very lovely and cute. And then for my audiobook, I'm now more than a quarter of the way into Dragon Haven. Is that what it's called? And yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm glad to be back with the characters. I have missed them a little bit. Rob and Hobb will always create the kind of characters that then live rent-free in your head. There is definitely a little bit of like stuff going on now, because as I said, the first book was so much setup that I was hoping for a little bit more action in the second book. And right now we're in the middle of a bit of action. Like, lives are in danger right now, and we can also see how some of the like threats are developing in the background a little bit. So yeah, I am definitely enjoying reading this one, and I will continue doing that. So I haven't really decided what to read next. Last night my hold for The Emperor of Gladness came in, and yeah, I have been meaning to read that book for a year now. So I should probably start that next. But then also I have been thinking about reading that nonfiction book about Palestine. The Asian Readathon was announced now, so I do have the prompts. So the prompts are based off of the songs in K-pop Demon Hunter, which I still haven't watched, and I feel like I should really use this opportunity now to finally watch that movie. So let me quickly check. I read the healing fiction for Golden for a character chasing a dream. As I said, we have like different characters in here that were trying to chase a dream. Mostly the like girls who had studied art, also the basketball player. But you know, this whole book is about people who wanted to achieve something in their lives and they couldn't quite do it while they were alive. So now they have to go back to do it when they're not alive anymore. And then I counted a Choose Sweet Home for Soda Pop, a light or fun read. So for those 5 prompts, I didn't really put the Emperor of Gladness in for any of the 5 prompts, but it's still on my TBR. So that's why I'm struggling a little bit, because I'm like, do I prioritize the official prompts right now, or do I prioritize this book because the hold came in? And I feel like I should prioritize the library hold, right? We'll see, we'll see. When we talk next, I'll let you know which book I have chosen. So today is the 7th of May, and it feels like I haven't updated you in a while because not a ton of reading has happened. However, I finally did start reading The Emperor of Gladness by Wang. I'm a couple of chapters in, not very far yet, but this book is about a boy. I think he's like 16 or something. I think his family came from Vietnam. I'm not quite sure whether he was born in the US or whether he migrated with his family. However, now it's like the late 2000s, I guess. And so we meet him when he's trying to take his own life and he's trying to jump off a bridge. However, there is this old Lithuanian lady who sees him doing it from her window and she basically interrupts him. And in the end, he moves in with her and they're now trying to take care of each other. Now, at the point where I'm at so far, things are going quite well. So I'm a little bit scared to continue reading because I don't want them not to go well anymore. But I think this is going to be a book that deals with themes of migration, of coming from a country that has seen atrocities, and probably also drugs, based on the previous novel by Vuong, which also dealt with this issue with like drugs in the US. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where the story will go. So far, I'm really enjoying the beginning and I'm really enjoying the Lithuanian old lady. She's really sweet, but she also has quite a few health issues that she needs help with. And then I'm also currently halfway through my audiobook Dragonhaven, and Robin Hobb can't do no wrong. I am having so much fun with this book and I'm enjoying it so much, and I just love Robin Hobb and I love the Realm of the Elderlings, and so it is going really well. This one, the second one, I wouldn't say that we have so much more plot. There has been something quite dramatic that happened in this first half of the book, but the whole way we deal with it, it's like not really like we have a trajectory right now. It's like very much like survival level of storytelling, but then also we see the characters grow and develop and learn new things about themselves, about the others, and You know, this has a little bit of an interesting twist because these characters, in a way, they have the opportunity to found their completely own city, maybe, and to make their own rules. And so we already see how they're trying to figure out how to do that and who will be the leader of the city and who will make the rules and all of that. So I think that's quite fascinating and I'm having a good time and I'm so glad I'm reading more Robin Hobb. If I read the last trilogy next year, what will I do after that? Let's not think about it. And then I also just went to the hairdressers, got a new haircut, and afterwards I decided to stop by the library and I picked up a couple of books and I thought I can quickly show you the stack. So these are the books I picked up. I could have gotten like 10 probably, but I tried to be brave because do I need more books to read? Honestly, no. Do I want to read library books all the time? So we have Tangerine by Christine Mangan. I have no idea how many times I have checked this book out from the library already and never got around to reading it. But again, I hope to read it during my vacation in June. Is it June? No, it's not. But yeah, I hope nobody else will try to get this book until I'm back from my holiday. Then for my friend Jess, I have to give it another try. You know it. We have A Song of Wraith and Ruin. I will get to this book. Promise to myself and the world, I will read this book. Then I also got the Sunbearer Trials again. This is a book that I have been meaning to read for so many years. I just need to get to it. So I thought, you know, having it lying around probably will help with that. And then last but not least, a new edition I saw at the library is Hours. This is a book that I have recently seen on a different channel. I will link that video down below because I can't remember the channel name right now, but as I said, I will link it. And it got me so interested in this book. So this is a thick baby. It's like a lot, but yeah, I'm just so intrigued by this one. So I thought, again, you know, just having it lie around here, who knows what will happen, right? So yeah, 3 of these I have checked out from the library so many times by now, and it's getting ridiculous, but also, you know, at some point I will read them. I just have to. So that's my little library haul. I hope you enjoyed that, and I think now I need to get back to reading all of these books. So today is the 10th of May. We're having a very chill Sunday in this household. And I wanted to give you a quick update because I'm currently a little bit more than halfway through The Emperor of Gladness. I am really enjoying this book. It is definitely a sad read. Like, this is not a happy story. We are following our main character of Hai, and his life is like very depressing, to be honest. When he was still quite young, he got into drugs, into pills, and so his whole life has been changed by that. And he's just someone who seems to feel quite a lot but doesn't really know how to deal with that. And because of that, yeah, following his life around is really quite sad. But this also has an underlying hopefulness that, you know, you can still kind of find your people. And it is quite beautiful in that way too, because at the beginning of the book, he moves in with this older lady, Kasina, but now he also started working at a fast food restaurant, and so we also get a lot of his interactions with his colleagues there, and you can definitely see that they all have kind of their tragic life stories, kind of the sad parts that they have to deal with, their trauma, but also they work together in a way and they watch out for each other in a way. And I do really enjoy reading about that. And I think just the way that Ocean Vuong writes is very stunningly beautiful. He definitely has a way with words. He is a poet at heart, you can definitely tell. But the book is not like too flowery, it's not poetic. I think the writing style fits the story in a way, and this is definitely one of those books that kind of burrows into your heart, where maybe you don't even realize how you start liking these characters and caring about these characters. Now, one character in particular that I really like in this book is Sony. That is the cousin of our main character and also the one who got him into this fast food restaurant. And Sony is autistic and he had some kind of like a brain injury when he was a kid. And I just really like how he fits into all of this, how the other characters are also kind of looking out for him in a way. And he's really obsessed with the Civil War, which I think can be like hard to pull off in a book, but because you have this kid and you just like really see the innocence of his obsession with the Civil War, it kind of is almost endearing. And I think it's like very fascinating. And it also opens a bit of a door to talk about the racism in the US, obviously. But I think mostly this book talks about poverty, it talks about immigration and how hard it can be on the families, also the kind of expectations that these kids have to kind of suffer through because they don't really have a roadmap either. Like their parents work jobs that are very hard for their kids to have a better chance, but they can't really show their kids what that better chance could look like because they don't know either. So yeah, it's like very interesting, and you can definitely see all the push and the pull of Hai's life in that way. And this one also deals with the Soviet Union in a way because yeah, Katsina as our main character, she has memories of the Second World War. Because she has dementia, she is kind of revisiting some of her memories, and it's really interesting because like we had you know, either the 8th or the 9th of May, it depends a little bit, as the kind of day of liberation in Europe when the Nazis were defeated. In Germany, that would be the 8th, but I think in other countries it's the 9th of May. And so I think it's really interesting. I just watched a short, which I will try to link down below, from a creator I think is like quite funny. And she talked about this thing where for a lot of like people in, you know, the Eastern European countries, they were liberated from the Nazis, but at the same time, they basically just exchanged the dictator to the Soviet Union in a way, and that was, you know, not necessarily better. And I think this book touches on that as well. And yeah, it's something I don't see a lot in literature, so I can appreciate that that is put in here. So there's a lot of like layers, and I'm really enjoying the book. And yeah, I was a little bit worried because I had seen some mixed reviews, but so far for me personally, it's a story that is definitely resonating with me. And I'm intrigued to see where the second half goes, because you have these stretches where it almost feels like things are going too well, and I'm scared that there is like a big terrible thing coming when all I want is for these characters to find their footing and to just be able to live their lives. And then quickly for my audiobook Dragon Haven, I am now in the last quarter of the book, so we are nearing the end. I can't believe how fast this book is flying by. I'm definitely enjoying that one as well, but I think I will talk more about it once I have finished it. Yeah, let's get reading. So it's the 11th of May today, and last night I did finish reading The Emperor of Gladness by Wang, and so I wanted to give you my final thoughts. Now, I really had an amazing time reading this book, and I'm not gonna lie, the ending broke me a little bit. I really loved the characters we get introduced to in this book, and while this one doesn't really have a plot, we're basically just following this character around for a couple of months of his life. I still feel like it was such a rich story because we have all of these characters and what they're going through. And I kind of like that in this one, we do have characters who have suffered some kind of trauma in their lives. However, we are not really looking at that. We are much more looking at them moving forward now. And we can see that despite all that they have experienced, they're still trying to make their way in life, and they are kind of fighting against all of the barriers that are holding them back. And this book, in the end, is also a huge love letter to people who feed other people. So restaurant workers and, just people who work in the production of food. We do have one chapter about slaughtering pigs, and I think that was such an interesting thing to put in the book. Definitely makes you want to be a vegetarian. Now, I am basically a vegetarian, so I really enjoyed that chapter. I think the chapter I found the hardest to read was the Christmas chapter. In this one, we follow our two main characters, so Hai and Kratzina, as they go for Christmas Eve dinner to Kratzina's son. And there are some things that are heavily implied, but not said explicitly about the son and specifically his father. But when you read through that chapter, you can definitely tell kind of what's going on in the history behind that situation. And it's really, really heartbreaking. And the way the son acts towards his mother, and even worse, his family, is just disgusting. And I will never understand people who are like that. The family where I'm from, we hold together. We would not leave anyone behind. And so, yeah, it was heartbreaking and terrible to read that chapter. Now, with the ending, when it comes to our main character, this book doesn't give a completely conclusive answer. It is a little bit up to interpretation, but it was just heartbreaking to me. It was very sad in a way, but very beautiful. And I think this book does have a hopeful note because we can see that these people are not giving up. There is this moment with Wayne and him showing a picture of his dogs. So cute. So cute. And yeah, this is one of those books when I was reading it, I felt life doesn't have to be that hard. And for so many people it is. And it's the saddest thing, because if we just would stick together and help each other out, it would not have to be this way. And I think that's why I love this book so much. In the end, I gave this one 4.5 stars. Now, that also means I'm ready to start my next book from my May TBR, and that will be Blood Over Bright Haven by Wang. Because this is one of the authors I wanted to try for the first time this year, this book will get its complete own reading vlog, so I probably won't talk a ton about it here, but I'm very, very excited to get started on that one, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I hope this will be a 5-star, but I'm also a little bit scared, and I don't want to let my friends down who loved this book so much. So next time we talk, I will either have finished my audiobook or I will end this vlog. We'll see what happens first. Thursday, today is the 14th of May, and I did in fact finish my audiobook today, Dragonhaven by Robin Hobb. This is the second book in the Rainwild Chronicles, and this was definitely a very interesting read. It is quite different from the other Robin Hobb books that I have read in the realm of the Elderlings. It definitely feels like the Dragon Keeper and Dragonhaven were supposed to be one book. It feels very much like one arc of a story. And so, yeah, I had a good time listening to this one. I think that overall in those two books, so far we have experienced way less tragedy than in some of the other stories. It just feels a little bit more contained. We don't see so much of the broader world in this series so far. And because of that, we can really just concentrate on these characters, on their journey through this jungle with their dragons, the kind of dangers that lurk there, and the relationships that build between these different people that went on this journey. So I think in that regard, it just feels a little bit more calm. And it's not that there's nothing happening. I think that these characters still have a lot of development and they really just have to figure out what they're doing. But it just feels like there isn't like the super dramatic bad stuff happening to these characters right now, and I can appreciate that a little bit. Now, shout out to my friend Shadia, because I have been sending her my reading updates as I went through the book, and when I mentioned that this is like the kind of fantasy where Robin Hobb is just not ripping out my heart and trampling on it, her comment made me think that this might change in the next two books of this series. So we'll see about that. Sorry, the cat just left. She was under the blanket behind me, but she hates it when I film. So yeah, I am intrigued to see how this will continue. I will definitely read the rest of the series as well. But for now, as we are in Asian Readathon, I want to take a little break from Wainwrights, and my next audiobook is going to be Road to Ruin by Hana Lee. I'm very excited for this book because it has been compared to Mad Max Fury Road, and that is one of my favorite movies. So in this book, we are following I think it's a woman, I'm not quite sure who the main character is, but basically this character is kind of a courier, and they bring letters, I think, from like two different people who are in love with each other to each other, but it's kind of like forbidden because they belong to like people who don't talk to each other usually. I'm not quite sure. I have very little knowledge what's actually going on in this book, so I'll update you when I have made a little bit of my way into this one. And then for my eyeball read, Blood Over Brighthaven, I have literally only read the first chapter. I have a hard time getting into this book, I'm not gonna lie. I have not been reading with my eyeballs the last 2 days. And the thing is that there's like two things why I'm scared of this book and like not liking this book. One is that the whole like, you know, going above and beyond for academia is something that is like very close to home right now, because I actually don't think I want to go like above and beyond just for a chance to work in academia. The whole system is so fucked. And so, yeah, it's just not a good topic for me. So I don't know. I'm scared I won't like the main character. The other thing is that I've just heard so many things about this book that I have like very clear ideas what might happen. And so I'm scared that they won't be impactful if they actually happen. So for example, the first chapter of this book is quite harrowing. Like the stuff that's going on there is not great, but reading it, I literally felt nothing because it was exactly the first chapter that I expected after hearing people comment on the book. So that is like very, yeah, strange for me. It's just like, I don't know, sometimes when I expect things, they are worse when they actually happen in a book or in a movie. And sometimes it just makes me feel nothing at all. And so far for this book, I feel nothing at all apart from my fear that I won't like it as much as all of my friends want me to. So yeah, I'm having a hard time with that one. My goal would be to get to the quarter mark before I leave for my trip that is coming up. We'll see about that. So yeah, no progress at all. And with that, I think I should stop rambling and not going back to reading, because apparently right now I'm not reading. So today is the 16th of May, and with that we have come to the end of this first part of the vlog. I will do a separate version for the next 2 weeks, or roughly 2 weeks of May. I wanted to quickly update you on the progress that I have made with my current 2 reads, but we can keep that kind of short. I'm about 20% into both of these. With Road to Ruin, I'm having a lot of fun. This is a very fast-paced book. We are following a mage bike courier, and she has been transporting secret letters from a prince to a princess. In this world there is a huge wasteland, and we have cities that are kind of like in the wasteland. They're called Karinas, and they are protected by magic. But between those Karinas you have like all of this wasteland with terrible storms, and these are magical storms that are basically deadly. And so being a mage by courier is quite the feat, and our main character is very good at it. But as I said, she is carrying those forbidden secret letters. Now at the beginning of the book, we see her have a little bit of an accident with this creature that is kind of like a flying dinosaur, I guess, and she feels bad about it, so she takes it in. It has a broken wing, and then she is delivering the message to the princess. So in this Karina where the princess lives, women of nobility don't really have a lot of rights, so she is not even allowed to read her own letter, but the courier has to read it to her. And then the princess tells her that this is the last time, because the princess is going to be married. However, she asks the courier to help her escape from the Karina and try to get to her secret lover, the prince of a different Karina. So both of them go on that journey. It all happens quite fast, but we do get a little bit of the world building as well as we go. I think it is woven in quite seamlessly, especially with the power dynamics in this world, with the people who have magic and the people who don't have magic. We do get a little bit of the backstory also of our courier main character. So far, even though it is a lot of action, I feel like I still get enough of the surrounding information that it is a really good, balanced, fun ride. Now, as our two main characters are fleeing into the wasteland, they make a discovery that is basically impossible. So I think that is where the story will really start now. The mage bike courier is also interested in both the princess and the prince, and I'm definitely here for that because, you know, my little Polly heart is very happy about that. So I can't wait to continue on with that and let you know how it goes in the next vlog. And then for Blood over Brighthaven, I don't want to say too much because I'm doing that whole separate reading vlog that will be up shortly. However, it's not going so super well. I'm not quite 20% into it, and I have been struggling with the beginning of this book quite a bit. I think I said that in my last update as well, but I just feel like I know so much about this book and we haven't even reached the point where I don't know what is going to happen next. So I usually try to stay away from all those detailed synopsis and all of that to avoid this feeling, but right now it feels like I have to read a quarter of the book to even get to a point where I don't know exactly what is going to happen. Now, I did read the part of the kind of magical trials that our main character has to go through to get into this kind of magical academy to get like her position there. However, I did like the kind of magic that we already got to see a little bit with this, but I also have the strongest suspicion of how the magic works and what it really is. And I feel like if that is what it is, I will kind of feel good because I was right, but I will also feel bored because I knew it all along. If it is something different, I don't know how that will go. then the book will have to convince me that it is something different. So yeah, it's hard. And I'm so sorry to my friends who love this book. I'm so sorry. I'm really trying my best to kind of get into it. But right now I'm not. Like right now, I'm forcing myself to pick this book up and to get through it. And it's just so sad. It's so sad, but I'll try my best. And maybe once, we have reached the point where I don't know definitely what is going to happen, maybe then things will pick up a little bit for me. We'll see about that. But yeah, that's it for my reading updates. Now, I wanted to give you a quick heads up. If you do enjoy reading vlogs with some travel content, I would highly recommend you subscribe right now, because both my next May vlog and then the June vlog will have some traveling that I'm very excited about. So I hope you subscribe. I hope you leave a nice comment. Let me know, how is your May reading going so far? I would love to hear about that. Leave a like, that always helps me out, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!